Hello world, welcome back to DevHooks channel. In this video we are going to take a closer look at arrays, which is a built-in data structure in JavaScript. Let's go. Well, this is an array, and how it looks like in JavaScript, it is a list of commas separated data. You can create it by using these squares brackets. There are a couple of important characteristics about arrays. For example, the insertion order is memorized. The element 4 will always be the second element in this array. You can retrieve it by index. Typically the index identify the position of element. For that reason the order is so important. The same index always will give you the same value. Arrays in JavaScript are iterables, which means you can loop through all the values in there. In addition, the size of arrays in JavaScript adjusts dynamically, which is awesome for memory management and performance. In addition to that, duplicates values are allowed in arrays. For example, the above array could have 3 zeros or 2 fours. You should know that you could mix numbers with strings with objects, even with nested arrays, all in the same array. One more thing left is the deletion and finding elements in arrays can be a bit more performance intensive and a bit more difficult. Now let's play around with array in code, so to get a feeling to all those points and you understand what does it means. I've prepared a simple start project, that's the file app.js, where we are going to play around with code. The code will be executed by Node.js in VS Code terminal. That's where we are going to evaluate the result like this. Let's get started with arrays. For that I'll have a couple of months here. July, August, August again. As I mentioned, you can duplicate values inside arrays like that, and September. Of course you can to access the first August with index 1, because the index with arrays starts at 0. So August will be printed at console. The months array is iterable, that means we can use the for loop to go through all the months here, like this. Then we console log them or do whatever you want. If you do that, you see all months been printed out. To be able to add a new element, you can play with the push method, which is a built-in method you can call for arrays. Here we add August again to prove duplicate allowed concept. By the way, you can see that the size adjusts automatically, because initially we have 4, then we have 5. Now about the deletion and finding elements. Of course, if we already know the index of element which we want to retrieve, retrieving is easy and fast, but is not the case for all the time. Sometimes we know the value of the element. Let's say we want find August in there. For that we use findIndex method. This method executes the callback function once for every index in array, until it finds the one where callback returns a true value. If such an element is found, findIndex immediately returns the element index. If callback never returns a true value or the array length is 0, findIndex returns -1. Now, the problem with findIndex method or others find methods for array is when we are looking for some value in the last position in the array, then we will go through all the elements in the array. This is a downside for finding methods. This operation can be very performance intensive if you have a long array. For deleting elements is pretty much the same. There are various techniques for that. We can use the Splice method. This method changes the content of an array by removing or replacing existing elements. Here we give to Splice method 2 arguments. The first is the starting index and the second is how many elements we want to splice. For example, we can remove one element after index 0, which is July. As you see here, July is left and the array has shrunk again. That's a quick look at arrays in JavaScript. Next we'll present another data structure type. See you next time. Happy coding.